man from Florida who warmed your hearts in 2019 by capturing an alligator in a Chicago lagoon is now recovering from heart surgery.
Yeah, WGN medical reporter Dina Baer talked with alligator wrangler Frank Robb about his personal struggle.
From the swamps of Florida to a lagoon in Chicago, Frank Robb has devoted his life to capturing and studying some of the most powerful creatures in the animal kingdom. But in the last year, the physical demands of the job he loves proved too much for his weakened body. It's his calling. Alligators are what Frank Robb knows best. He makes his living capturing the creatures when they wander from the wild to more domesticated settings.
Anybody that thinks catching alligators for a living is easy, they've strongly mistaken. It's very mentally taxing, and it's very physically taxing all the time.
We first met Frank in 2019 when he was called in to help the city take care of a little problem peeking out of Humboldt Park Lagoon.
The gator was kind of hiding in the lily pads, and as soon as Mr. Robb saw it, he was able to capture it unharmed.
He brought Chance the snapper to safety and helped arrange for the alligator's move to a more suitable habitat in Florida. We visited both in February 2020 and learned about Frank's lifelong conservation and research efforts.
The American alligator's endocrine system is 99.9% the same as ours, which is kind of bizarre to think about that, but yeah, it's true.
We can learn so much from them.
No doubt. They may eventually be the cure for cancer and AIDS and everything else.
What we didn't know, the 41-year-old wrangles with 1/3 of the lung capacity of a typical adult his height.
I've been amazed more than once at how some people can continue to function at the level they do, and it's just a testament to the amazing capabilities of the human body, and also the will and determination of individuals like Frank.
It's how Frank was born, his sternum sunken in. As a 4-year-old, he underwent reconstructive surgery to elevate his chest and help him breathe better.
And they took my sternum and flipped it and kind of broke my ribs and reformed my chest.
Because of the chest wall deformity, his lungs did not grow and develop to the normal size.
Still, he carried on with his work in the wild, not even aware of his physical limitations.
It's the job I have. You have to be able to go from 0 to 150% and then drop that back off for, 30 minutes, an hour, 3 hours, and then jump right back into it again. And maybe do that for 24, 36, 48 hours straight.
But in late October, on top of diminished lung capacity, a faulty mitral heart valve was causing blood to back up in Frank's heart. The condition left him struggling to function.
Like I couldn't grab the amount of air I needed to breathe, and I just kind of started going slow. And I knew right then something wasn't right. I couldn't, when I was out there doing that too, it was hard to process thoughts. It's something you could just tell I wasn't running right.
To fix a mitral valve, doctors often use a mechanical replacement, but that requires lifelong medications that increase a patient's risk of bleeding.
There we go.
Considering the occupational hazards of Frank's job,
So repair was really a desirable outcome in him, to be able to avoid the limitations of having to be on a blood thinner, especially in Frank's line of work, which is very important.
On March 10th, Frank underwent a nearly 7-hour operation at the University of Florida. Dr. George Anatakis used Gore-Tex material to recreate the cords that open and close the valve tightly. But there were concerns given Frank's chest wall deformity.
We were able to gain access to the heart without doing any radical chest wall procedures that we were concerned would only expose him to further risk and fairly minimal benefit.
The next several days were rough. Frank suffered with cardiac arrhythmia and was kept in the intensive care unit. His doctors had to restart his heart twice with an electrical shock, a procedure called cardioversion.
It's not uncommon for patients to have transient changes in the electrical rhythm of the heart after open heart surgery.
I wouldn't wish on anybody.
We spoke with Frank once he left the ICU more than a week after his surgery, his new battle scar on display.
It's a pretty good one. I'm a hurting dude, but it's going to get better.
Oh, I expect that he'll have a very good prognosis long term and get back out in nature doing what he does best.
Really, just so thankful to be here right now. There were times this week where it didn't seem like it.
Happy to report Frank is now home recovering and tells us he's feeling stronger each day. He's planning to travel to North Carolina and eventually Belize later this year to continue his alligator research.